Hi, I'm Julie Neckley, and this is a quick video on the zodiac signs and astrology. So there is a misconception that astrology is about dividing people into 12 categories based on 12 personality categories based on their sign, aka where the sun was when they were born. But in reality, in astrology, everyone has all 12 signs in their chart. It's just that in everyone's chart, they interact in a unique way. Because the zodiac signs are like really pure, intense energies that can't really exist on their own. Like, it's similar to in chemistry, how you can't really generally have just a element on its own. It has to form a compound in order to be stable on Earth. And that's the same way with the astrology signs. Like, nobody can just be all about bravery and stupidity like Aries, or they couldn't really exist on Earth. You know, you have to have some of the like donut eating qualities of Taurus to stabilize you, some of the intelligence of Gemini. You have to have like all of those things mixed together in order to be a functioning organism. The signs are more like platonic forms, you know, like that exist in theory, but they can't really exist on planet Earth. And it goes beyond personality. The signs are at play in all things on Earth, like in all events on Earth. And over the course of time, as the planets move around, different zodiac energies get brought into play in different ways and in different degrees. Let's see. And so even if you didn't know about astrology or where the planets are or your chart, the zodiac signs are still pretty relevant because it's kind of like 12 spirits that govern life, you know, and people can and do tap into those spirits all the time. You know, it's like if a person wants to be like all sexy or something, they might wear black leather or something because it's kind of like they're summoning that Scorpio spirit, you know, to be like whatever, to be like all sexual. Or, you know, if a person is like an athlete, you know, they might like do things like I don't know if athletes wear a lot of red, but in different ways we summon those different energies into our life for when we need different types of things. So I think and even you can just like tap into them with your mind, you know, and I think that they're real energies that like when you tap into them through your mind or whatever, they actually, you know, come into you and can give you inspiration and take things in a new direction, you know, like magical energies. So all the 12 signs are really relevant to all of us. It's not like one person has a monopoly on a specific sign. But where you use which type of energy will be shown in your birth chart. So there will be an area where you are like deep and perverted like a Scorpio. There will be an area where you're brave and dumb like an Aries. There'll be an area where you're just eating like a Taurus or whatever. Those will all happen at some point in your life. And one reason for that is because each sign in the zodiac is a correction of the sign that came before. Because they're these really pure energies, they create imbalances, basically. You know, they can resolve a problem, but if you stay in one zodiac energy too long or have too much of it, it creates a problem. And then the next zodiac sign comes in to correct that problem. So it's sort of like each sign shapes the character of the sign that follows it by the imbalance that it creates. An example would be Aries is, you know, really brave and bold and enthusiastic, but it creates so much instability because it's always doing these really dumb, brave things that eventually a correction is needed. And then you have Taurus, who's like, let's play it safe. Let's focus on food, money, security. Let's not rock the boat, you know? But then it's like eventually Taurus gets so fat that it can't move. And it's so boring and so dull and stuffy that you need a correction on that. And so then it's Gemini. It's like, hey, let's get out of this chair. Let's look around. Let's start exploring. But then eventually that leads to a form of instability because there's no like real commitment to anything. To Gemini, everything is the same. And so then that leads to Cancer, who's like, okay, let's start a family. Everything can't be equal. We have to prioritize some things before others, you know? And so Cancer is like focused on its family, protecting its own family. But then like all that mothering energy gets to be smothering. And so it's like, let's break out and have fun, you know? And then that's Leo. It's like, let's just like focus on like having a party and stuff because it just became too stuffy. But then eventually Leo becomes too braggartly and irresponsible, and that creates problems. So then you have Virgo, who's all about being responsible and humble and solving other people's problems, because Leo is more selfish, and then Virgo steps in to be like, wait, we need to like serve others. I'm going to like focus on resolving other people's problems. And then how you get from Virgo to Libra, honestly, I still have to think about that one. But, so let's skip that. So then you're in Libra, where they're like being really ingratiating and focusing on the people around them in order to create harmony. But eventually that creates an imbalance. And so then you have Scorpio, who's like, it gets too fake, you know? So then you have Scorpio, who's like, let's dig in and see what's actually going on behind the scenes. Like, let's get to the bottom of things. Let's create a more real relationship, because all this fakeness is just becoming too much. But then Scorpio keeps digging and digging, and it just creates too much darkness, too much enmeshment and intensity. So you have to break out of that. And then that's why Sagittarius is born, because Sagittarius is like, let's not, be deep, and let's not be emotional. Let's like go explore. Let's go to other countries. Let's think about things that are far away. Let's be excited, So it's like the expansive outward energy. But then eventually he runs out of money from traveling. And so then he has to come back and be responsible. And, that's Capricorn. It's like, let's focus on building something solid. Let's be practical. Let's focus on a career. Let's be established in society rather than just wandering around in the world. But then eventually Capricorn gets like so rigid, and it's that you're about, and lonely and cold, kind of like Scrooge, that you're about to die. And so that's when Aquarius is born. And Aquarius is more about like, let's open up to friends and other people. Let's form a group that includes everyone. And then why does that turn into Pisces? I don't know. I have to think about that. But Pisces, and then you get Pisces, which is like, let's just like float in a bubble bath until we die, And then of course it's quite obvious why you float in a bubble bath for too long, and eventually you're like, oh my God, this fucking sucks. And so then you get up and you become brave again, and that is Aries. So then you're back at the beginning. It's kind of like the winter. Pisces is like the end of winter. It's just gotten to be too much. And then Aries is the spring again. So you can think about how the signs are corrective in your own way, but that's the basic principle, is the idea that each sign is pretty much compelled to come into existence because of the imbalances of the sign that precedes it. And Aries, of course, is the first sign. So Aries has to exist in all things for them to start, because nothing starts without something being the first one. Someone has to be the beginning, the pioneer, the one to do something that hasn't been done before. And that's Aries. In some ways, Aries is the most important sign of the zodiac, because it's the beginning of all things. And it doesn't matter what sign you are. You still have Aries somewhere in your chart, and wherever it is in your chart will be like an especially important place. Anyway, that's just a little bit about the signs of the zodiac. Thanks. I'm Julia Nacklier. Bye.